11th of July. We must only speak about the ultimate and most serious things in life when the words well up inside us as simply and as naturally as water from a spring. And if God does not help me to go on, then I shall have to help God. The surface of the earth is gradually turning into one great prison camp, and soon there will be nobody left outside. The Jews here are telling each other lovely stories. They say that the Germans are burying us alive or exterminating us with gas. But what is the point of reading such things, even if they should be true? It hasn't stopped pouring with rain since last night. I've already cleared out one of the drawers in my desk. I rediscovered the one photograph I have of S, which I mislaid nearly a year ago. I've always been absolutely convinced that it would turn up again. And there it suddenly was, at the bottom of that untidy drawer. That's typical of me. I just know with some things, big or small, that they will turn out all right in the end. I never worry about tomorrow. For instance, I know I am going to have to leave here very soon, and I haven't the faintest idea where I'll end up or how I shall earn my living. But I know that something will turn up. If one burdens the future with one's worries, it cannot grow organically. I am filled with confidence, not that I shall succeed in worldly things, but that even when things go badly for me, I shall still find life good and worth living. I catch myself making all sorts of minor but telling adjustments in anticipation of life in a labor camp. Last night, when I was walking along the quay beside him in a pair of comfortable sandals, I suddenly thought, I shall take these sandals along as well. I can wear them instead of the heavier shoes from time to time. What goes on in my head in moments like that? Such light-hearted, almost playfully good humor. Yesterday was a very hard day, when I suffered agonies. Yet, once more, I was able to brave it all, everything that came storming at me, and now I can bear a little more than I was able to bear yesterday. And that probably explains my cheerfulness and inner peace, that I am able, time after time, to cope all by myself, that my heart does not shrivel up with the bitterness of it all, and that even the moments of deepest sadness and black despair finally make me stronger. I don't fool myself about the real state of affairs, and I've even dropped the pretense that I'm out to help others. I shall merely try to help God as best I can, and if I succeed in doing that, then I shall be of use to others as well. But I mustn't have heroic illusions about that either. But how shall I really feel and act, I keep wondering, with a call-up card for Germany in my bag and orders to leave in a week's time? Supposing the card came tomorrow, how would I act then? I wouldn't tell a soul at first, but retire to the quietest spot in the house, withdraw into myself, and gather what strength I could from every cranny in my body and soul. I'd have my hair cut short and throw my lipstick away. I would try to finish reading the relic letters before the week was out. And I'd have a pair of trousers and a jacket made out of that heavy winter coat material that I've got left over. I would try to see my parents, of course, and do my best to reassure them. And every spare minute, I would want to write to him, to the man I shall always long for. I now know that for certain. Yes, when I think about having to leave him and never being able to know what is happening to him, I feel as if I were dying already. In a few days' time, I shall go to the dentist and have lots and lots of holes in my teeth. Filled. For that really would be awful, suffering from toothache out there. I shall try to get a hold of a rucksack and pack only what is absolutely essential, though everything must be of good quality. I shall take a Bible along, and that slim volume of Letters to a Young Poet, and surely I'll be able to find some corner for the Book of Hours. I won't take along any photographs of those I love. I'll just take all the faces and familiar gestures I have collected and hang them up along the walls of my inner space so that they will always be with me. And these two hands will go along with me, their expressive fingers like strong young twigs. And these hands will keep protecting me in prayer and will not leave me till the end. And these dark eyes will go with me, and their benign, gentle, questioning look. And when my features have become ugly and ravaged through too much suffering and too much hard work, then the whole of my soul's life will still be able to take refuge in my eyes, and the remnants of my past will gather in them. and so on and so forth. This is, of course, a mood, one of many one comes to recognize in oneself in these new circumstances. But it is also a part of me and an opportunity, a part of myself that is beginning to predominate. But for the rest, a person is only human. And even now, I keep telling my heart that we too will have to carry on even if I am separated from those without whom I now think I cannot live. Each moment I free myself more from dependence on external props and draw closer inwardly to those from whom I cannot be separated, however far apart we happen to be. And yet, when I walk with him hand in hand along the quay, which looked so autumnal and stormy last night, and then warm myself in his little room on his open and loving gestures, I am flooded with human, oh so human, hopes and desires. Why can't we all stay together, after all? Nothing else would really matter, if only we could be together. I don't ever want to have to leave him. Yet, sometimes I say to myself, it is probably easier to pray for someone far away than to witness him suffering by your side. In this tempestuous, havoc-ridden world of ours, the real communication comes from the heart. Outwardly, we are being torn apart, and the paths to each other lie buried under so much debris that we often fail to find the person we seek. We can only continue to live together in our hearts and hope that one day we may walk hand in hand again. I cannot tell, of course, how I shall react when I really do have to leave him. His voice over the telephone this morning still rings in my ear. Tonight we shall have a meal together. Tomorrow morning we shall work together, and then lunch at Liesl and Warner's, and in the afternoon we shall play music together. He is still here, and perhaps in my heart of hearts I do not really accept that all of us are about to be separated. A person is only human, after all. Many accuse me of indifference and passivity when I refuse to go into hiding. They say that I have given up. They say everyone who can must try to stay out of their clutches. It's our bounden duty to try. But that argument is specious, for while everyone else tries to save himself, vast numbers are nevertheless disappearing. And the funny thing is, I don't feel I'm in their clutches anyway, whether I stay or am sent away. I find all that talk so cliché-ridden and naive, and can't go along with it anymore. I don't feel in anybody's clutches. I feel safe in God's arms, to put it rhetorically, and no matter where I am sitting at this beloved old desk now, or in a bare room in the Jewish district, or perhaps in a labor camp under 55 guards in a month's time, I shall always feel safe in God's arms. They may well succeed in breaking me physically, but no more than that. I may face cruelty and deprivation, the likes of which I cannot imagine, even in my wildest fantasies. Yet all this is as nothing to the immeasurable expanse of my faith in God and my inner receptiveness. I shall always be able to stand on my own 2 feet, even when they are planted on the hardest soil of the harshest reality. And my acceptance is not indifference or helplessness. I feel deep moral indignation at a regime that treats human beings in such a way. But events have become too overwhelming and too demonic to be stemmed with personal resentment and bitterness. These responses strike me as being utterly childish and unequal to the fateful course of events. People often get worked up when I say it doesn't really matter whether I go or somebody else does. The main thing is that so many thousands have to go. It is not as if I want to fall into the arms of destruction with a resigned smile. Far from it. I'm only bowing to the inevitable, and even as I do so, I am sustained by the certain knowledge that ultimately they cannot rob us of anything that matters. I certainly do not want to go out of some sort of masochism, or to be torn away from what has been the basis of my existence these last few years. But I don't think I would feel happy if I were exempted from what so many others have to suffer. They keep telling me that someone like me has a duty to go into hiding, because I have so many things to do in life, so much to give. But I know that whatever I may have to go to others, I can give it no matter where I am, here in the circle of my friends or over there in a concentration camp. And it is the sheer arrogance to think oneself too good to share the fate of the masses. And if God himself should feel that I still have a great deal to do, well then I shall do it after I have suffered what all the others have had to suffer. and whether or not I am a valuable human being will become clear only from my behavior in more arduous circumstances. And if I should not survive, how I die will show me who I really am. It's no longer a question of not getting oneself into a certain situation, come what may, but of how, in whatever situation, one conducts oneself and goes on living. Those things which it is just that I do, I shall do. Of course, that doesn't mean I will turn down a medical exemption if they give me one on account of my inflamed kidneys and bladder. And I've been recommended for some sort of soft job with the Jewish Council. They had permission to hire 180 people last week, and the desperate are thronging there in droves, as shipwrecked people might cling for dear life to a piece of driftwood. But that is as far as I am prepared to go, and beyond that I am not willing to pull any strings. In any case, the Jewish Council seems to become a hotbed of intrigue, and resentment against the strange agency is growing by the hour, and sooner or later it will be their turn to go anyway. But of course, by then the English may have landed. At least, that's what those people say who have not yet abandoned all political hope. I believe that we must rid ourselves of all expectations of help from the outside world, that we must stop guessing about the duration of the war and so on. And now I'm going to set the table. Thank God another people has phoned to cancel, so the whole afternoon is mine, and after 8 o'clock the evening will be mine as well. I hope to get on further with Schubart's book, and also with Joan. And then I must see if I can find the right tone to use with that excited Leonin following her letter, which I found very touching in many respects, but insufferably overdone in others, and, I have to say, ill-advised and loud. Even when she writes in her notes for S that she has discovered peace in herself with a capital P, I still find her loud. We must forget all our big words, begin with God and end with death, and we must become as simple as pure spring water. Above all, a little less wordy. But what can you with someone who feels a bit like a prophet?